Vande Guru Nisha Bhaktan Isha Nisha Avtarakan Tat Prakasham Satat Shakti Krishna Chaitanya Sangyakam Vande Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Sahoditau Gaudaudaye Pushpavanatau Chitrau Sandau Tamonudau Gurve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Vande Guru Nisha Bhakta Nisha Nisha Avatarakan Tat Prakasham Satat Shakti Krishna Chaitanya Sangyakam Grantera Arambha Kori Mangalacharana Guru Vaishnava Bhagwan Tinera Smarana Hoy Vighana Vinashana Anayasa Sapal Nija Vanchita Purana Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas, thank you so much for joining. We are reading Grantraj Sri Caitanya-Caritāmṛta. We are at Canto or Adi-lila, Chapter 2, entitled Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We'll read text number 20. So we were talking about the Paramatma aspect of the Lord. First we discussed the Brahman aspect, then the Paramatma realization. Athava bhunaitena kim gyatena tavarjuna vishtabhyaham idam kritsnam ekam sena sthito jagat. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna said, "What more shall I say to you? I live through the cosmic manifestation merely by my single plenary portion." Purport. Describing his own potencies to Arjuna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, spoke this verse in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 42. So, just this is also in the Bhagavad Gita. Maybe we can read this purport since there is no purport there. The Supreme Lord is represented through the entire material universes by his entering into all things as the Super Soul. The Lord here tells Arjuna that there is no point in understanding how things exist in their separate opulence and grandeur. He should know that all things are existing due to Krishna's entering them as Super Soul. From Brahma, the most gigantic entity, on down to the smallest ant, all are existing because the Lord has entered each and all is sustaining them. There is a mission that regularly propounds that worship of any demigod will lead one to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or the supreme goal. But worship of the demigods is thoroughly discouraged here because even the greatest demigods like Brahma and Shiva represent only part of the opulence of the Supreme Lord. He is the origin of every born, and no one is greater than him. He is Asamavruddha, which means that no one is superior to him and no one is equal to him. In the Padma Purana, it is said that one who considers the Supreme Lord Krishna in the same category with the demigods, be they even Brahma or Shiva, becomes at once an atheist. If, however, one thoroughly studies the different descriptions of the opulences and expansions of Krishna's energy, then one can understand without any doubt the position of Lord Sri Krishna and can fix his mind in the worship of Krishna without deviation. The Lord is all pervading by the expansion of his partial representation, the Supersoul, who enters into everything that is. Pure devotees therefore concentrate their minds in Krishna consciousness in full devotional service. Therefore, they are always situated in the transcendental position. Devotional service and worship of Krishna, Hare Krishna, are very clearly indicated in this chapter, in this verses 8 through 11. That is the way of pure devotional service. How one can attain the highest devotional perfection of association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead has been thoroughly explained in this chapter. Sri Baldev Vidyabhushan, a great acharya in the disciplic succession from Krishna, concludes in his commentary on this chapter by saying, Yat Shakti Leshad Suryadya Bhavanti Ati Urga Tejasaha Yat Amsena Dhritam Vishwam Sa Krishno Dasam Prichyate. From Lord Krishna's potent energy, even the powerful sun gets his power, and by Krishna's partial expansion, the whole world is maintained. Therefore, Lord Sri Krishna is my worshipable. So that's the last verse of this Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10. What's the title of chapter 10? The Opulence of the Absolute. So, as we see here, a lot of verses are there from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is quoting here. So the point here, the main point is that anything and everything exists because Sri Krishna is present in some way, directly or indirectly. Without the Supreme Lord, nothing is possible. He is the cause of all causes. Through his expansions, he is present in every aspect. Therefore, as Baldev Vidyabhushan said, how can we worship anyone else besides the Supreme Lord, Sri Hari, Sri Krishna? So, any other comments anyone has? Okay, we'll read the next verse, text 21. Would someone like to read?
I can read, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Text number 21. Tam imam aham ajama sharira bhajam riddhi riddhi tishtitam atma kalpitanam prati drisham iva naikyaharakam ekam samadigato smi vidhuta bhedamoha. Translation and purport is divinely S.A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Teacher. Translation. Grandfather Bhishma said, as the one son appears differently situated to different seers, so also do you, the unborn, appear differently represented as the Paramatma in every living being. But when a seer knows himself to be one of your own servitor, no longer does he maintain such a duality. Thus, I am now able to comprehend your eternal forms, knowing well the Paramatma to be only your plenary portion. Purport. This verse from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1.9.42 was spoken by Bhismadev, the grandfather of the Gurus, when he was lying on a bed of arrows at the last stage of his life. Arjuna, Krishna, and numberless friends, admirers, relatives, and sages had gathered on the scene as Maharaja Yudhishthira took moral and religious instruction from the dying Bhishma. Just as the final moment arrived for him, Bhishma spoke this verse by looking at Lord Krishna. Just as the one son is the object of vision of many different persons, So the one partial representation of Lord Krishna who lives in the heart of every living entity as a Paramatma is the variously perceived object. One who comes intimately in touch with Lord Krishna by engaging his eternal service sees the super soul as the localized partial representation of Supreme Personality of a Godhead. Bhishma knew the super soul to be a partial expansion of the Lord Krishna, whom he understood to be the supreme unborn transcendental form. So here, Prabhupada explained very nicely. The analogy has given here. Sun, like sun appears differently, uh, situated in different seas, like God also appears directly as a Paramatma. And the person who is going to understand really, the person who comes engage his eternal service, he comes contact, touch with the Lord Krishna, engage his eternal service, who can understand. And at this stage here, the Bhishma, who knew that the Lord Krishna, who is the super soul in everyone's heart as a Paramatma. So that's what my understanding, Prabhu. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. So a great, these are the prayers of Bhishmadev, Bhishma Stuti. One thought just came to my mind that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is quite old in terms of like about 90 years old while he's writing all this. And did he have a laptop to refer the verses? No, right? Or to search out, oh, let me check what verse Bhishmadev spoke to. Oh, so at the very last end of his, like lap of his life, so learned, so devoted, he's remembering all those verses, right? For us to remember, we have to search, where is this verse? Search out that word, and where is that verse? Still, we'll have a hard time. But Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is quoting verses from so many Shastras at the age of 90 years. So we must appreciate that point. Vidya Vinay Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Cheva Shupakeva Pandita Samadarshina. A person who has the right vision, the vision sees the Atma and the Paramatma in every being. Not seeing Indian, American, black, white, yellow, male, female. It's a very high vision, even up to a Chandala. Sri Prabhupada had that vision, and therefore he gave the message of Krishna consciousness to each and every one without any judgmental attitude. Oh, I will only give to people of my, Bengali community because I am from Bengal. Or I'll only give to Indians because I am from India. Or I'll only give to Hindus because I'm a Hindu. That's all on the bodily platform. So we must also try to imbibe that spirit and share this message of Krishna consciousness with each and every one as far as possible. Um, so seeing the Paramatma, just like the sun. There's no like Indian sun, American sun, European sun. Sun is sun. People may call the sun by different names: Suraj, Dinkar, Bhaskar, Sun, etc. But does the sun change? No, the sun remains the same. That's the point here. The Paramatma is there. People may be dressed up in different bodies and may call differently, but the essence, the supreme soul is the same, and the Atma is there. Okay, let's keep reading. Yes, Arundhati Mataji, want to read? text number 22. It's a pretty long purport. Maybe you can read
All right.
one or two paragraphs.
Sure. Chaita Govinda Shachak Chaitanya Goshana Jiva Nistarate Ichya Dayalu R9. R9. Okay, purport for Srila Prabhupada ki jai. That Govinda personally appeared as Chaitanya Goswami. No other Lord is merciful in delivering the fallen souls. Purport. Having described Govinda in terms of his Brahman and Paramatma features, now the author of Sri Chaitanya-Caritāmṛta advanced his argument to prove the Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the identical personality, the same Lord Sri Krishna in the grave of devotee of Sri Krishna descended to this mortal world to reclaim the fallen human beings who had misunderstood the personality of Godhead even after the explanation of the Bhagavad Gita. In the Bhagavad Gita, the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna directly instructed that the Supreme is a person, that the impersonal Brahman is his glowing effulgence, and that the Paramatma is his partial representation. All men were therefore advised to follow the path of Sri Krishna, having aside all Mondaism of offender misunderstood this instruction. However, because of their poor fund of knowledge, this by his causeless illuminated mercy Sri Krishna came again as Sri Chaitanya Goswami. You want me to explain now or go ahead and read this whole thing? Okay. The author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita most emphatically stressed that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Sri Krishna himself. He is not an expansion of the Prakasha or Vilas from of Sri Krishna. He is the Shaivam Rupa Govinda. Apart from the relevant scriptural evidence of forward by Srila Krishna Dasha Kaviraj Goswami, there are innumerable other scriptural statements regarding Lord Chaitanya's being the Supreme Lord himself. The following examples may be cited. Oh, okay, number 1. From the Chaitanya Upanishad, from the Chaitanya Upanishad 5, Guraha Sarvanta Sarvatma Mahapurusha Mahatma Mahayogi Triyugandita Satta Rupa Bhaktim Loka Kashyati. Lord Gaura, who is the all-pervading super soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appears as great saint, as powerful mystic who is above the three modes of nature and is the emblem of transcendental activity. His disseminates the cult of the devotion through the world. That's why I should stop.
Sure, Mataji.
Okay, so what I gather here that Lord Krishna can, when pralaya happens, he comes in a different form. So this is Lord Sri Chaitanya, or this is my Lord Shiva, but ultimately it is Supreme Lord Sri Krishna who comes to teach us when we go out of ordinary. So we have to keep in mind that he cannot be divided in many forms. He's the only one, and Adi, and he never can be two. Only one, the Sri Krishna. That's the one, I think.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nataji. Okay, let's keep moving. It's a long purport because it's an important verse. Let's read further. Anyone else? Then, Prabhu, you want to read? Okay, people, Prabhu. Okay, Kirti Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. From the Shvetatwara Upanishad 6.7 and 3.12. Tam Ishwaranam Param Maheshwaram Tam Devatanam Paramahcha Devatam Patim Patinam Paramaha Prasadat Vidanam Devam Bhuvaneshwaswam Idam. O Supreme Lord, you are the Supreme Maheshwara, the worshipable deity of all the demigods, and the Supreme Lord of all lords. You are the controller of all controllers, the personality of Godhead, the Lord of everything worshipable. Mahan Prabhur eva Purushaha Satvasya Pravartakasha Sunirmalam Manam Praptim Ishana Jyotir Avyayah. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Mahaprabhu, who disseminates transcendental enlightenment. Just to be in the touch with him is to be in contact with indestructible Brahmajyoti. From the Mukunda Upanishada 3.1.3. Yada pasyah pashyate rukma varnam kratardham isham purusham brahma yonim. One who sees the golden colored personality of Godhead, the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Controller, who is the source of Supreme Brahman, is liberated. From Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 11.5, 33 to 34 and 7.9.38. Dehayam sada paribhava gahanam abhishta doham trishtapadam shiva virichit nutam sarvanayam brahmaryatreham varanapada bhavabhihi potam Vande Mahapurusha Te Charanarvindam. We offer our respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of him, the Lord. Upon him one should always meditate. He destroys insult of his devotee. He removes the distress of his devotee and satisfies their desire. He, the abode of the holy places and the shelter of all sages, is worshipable by Lord Shiva and Lord Brahma. He is the boat of the demigod for crossing the ocean of birth and death. Back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. So this is a fairly long purport. We'll complete this first and take some reflections. So Prabhupada is really giving a lot of proofs that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Govinda himself. So from different scriptures, let's keep reading. Yes, Vipul Prabhu, you want to read?
Yes, Guruji. Hare Krishna, Devi, Dandavat Pranam. Tekta Shudastayam Shurpista Ajyo Lakshmin Dharmishta Aryo Bachasho Yat Ajat Arannam Maya Mrigam Daite Pish Dedeshitam Anabhad Anabhado Abad Bande Mahapurushote Charnar Bindam. We offer our respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of the Lord, upon whom one should always meditate. He left his household alive, living inside his eternal consort, whom even the demigods of heaven adore. He went into the forest to deliver the fallen souls, who are put into illusion by material energy. Paula said, Ithamnyo Tirogo Rishi Deva Jasho Bhata Bir Lokan Bhiva Bayashi Hamshi Jagat Protipan Dharman Mahapurusho Pashi Juga Nibhritam Channo Kalo Yat Abhavastriyogo Athoshatam. My Lord, you kill all the enemies of the world in your multifarious incarnations in the families of men, animals, demigods, rishis, aquatics, and so on. Thus you illuminate the worlds with transcendental knowledge. In the age of Kali, O Mahapurush, you sometimes appear in a covered incarnation. Therefore you are known as Triyuga, one who appears in only three yugas. Number 5, from the Krishna Imala Tantra, Punnoshatru Navadipe Bhavashmi Shochi Shuta. I shall appear in the holy land of Navadip as the son of Sachi Devi. From the Vayu Purana, Kalau Sankritano Marbuhe Bhagoswami Shochi Shuta. In the age of Kali, when the Sankirtan movement is inaugurated, I shall descend as the son of Shochi Devi. From the Brahma Imala Tantra, Atho Baham Dharma Dharme Bhutta Mad Bhakta Rupa Dhrik Mayo Cha Bhavishyami Kalau Sankrita Nam Sankritam Me. Sometimes I personally appear on the surface of the world in the garb of a devotee. Specifically, I appear as the son of the Shochi in the Kali Yuga to start the Sankirtan movement. From the Ananta Samhita, Ya Eva Bhagavan Krishna Radhika Prana Vallabha Srishti Adosha Jagan Mathu Gaura Ashin Mahashara. The Supreme Person, the Sri Krishna himself, who is the life of Sri Radharani and is the Lord of universe and creation, maintenance annihilation, appears as Gaura Mahashara. So, in this part, we clearly see all the Puranas, Shastras, that painting about the Lord, Sri Gaura Hari, who is coming as a in a Kali avatar, as a covered manifestation, covered of the Lord. And the very thing I realized that though I born in Bengal, and all the time I heard about the Go Nityananda, but I never knew about them. And actually, when I came to New York or other temples, I went to the different parts of the world. Most of the time, I saw Radha Krishna. Even at the site going there, I never noticed that. And there is a small temple in Queens when they started 10 years back, and only Go Nitai. And that day one, I was really surprised. Why they put Go Nitai? Why even in ISKCON, they are putting 7 deities in different places? So being born in Bengal, I was so ignored that I didn't know anything. Now, slowly realized, but this verse actually makes my full understanding what is Go Nitai. Back to Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, Kirti Mataji, and what's that? Arundhati Mataji, yes. It's a big purport. So if someone says, well, what is the proof that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself? Then we need to ask them to read this verse with the purport. It's very, very important. And look at the amazing qualities of Srila Prabhupada, that he's really kind of forcing, or kind of making us this point very, very clear, because in future people will ask this question. Srila Prabhupada, being pure devotee, knows that people will have this question. So if he's quoting from Chaitanya Upanishad and Shvetashvara Upanishad and Munduka Upanishad and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, so many verses from Canto 11, verses of Sri Prahlad Maharaj, Jhanna Avatara, verses from Krishna Yamala Tantra, from so many tantras and so many mantras and so many Upanishads, that Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Prabhupada is the author of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Caitanya-Caritāmṛta, most emphatically stresses that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself. This is directly from the purport. He is not an expansion of the Prakasha or Vilasa forms of Shri Krishna. So who knows what are the Prakasha and the Vilasa forms? Anyone knows? Okay, Vipul Prabhu knows. Anyone else knows? Okay, Prabhuji will share for everyone's benefit. You want to share, Vipul Prabhu?
Yeah, sure. When Krishna comes and do the pastime in the original form, no difference between Krishna and the other Krishnas, like in the Lila, in the Dwarakas. Same Krishna is dancing with the other gopis. Same Krishna is living with as a king or husband in Dwaraka with the other queens, but they cannot differentiate who's Krishna. So that is the Prakash. And Bilash, Krishna's different forms, like Narayan form, Shankarshana form, for Chaturbhuha. So a little bit difference from Krishna. Even the Lord Balaram, just being a different complexion, is a Bilash form. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice. So the example is given that there's one candle, and then there is the one candle lights the other candle. The candles the two candles will be same, but still there is that original candle from whom the 16,000 candles come, right? So here the point is that Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is that original Supreme Personality of Godhead, not even the secondary candles or the secondary expansions. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Sri Krishna himself. Saita Govinda Sakshat Chaitanya Gosai. Why did he come? Jive Nistrate Aicha Dayalu Ornai. There is no one more merciful in delivering the fallen souls especially in this age of Kali Yuga. No one over. It's a very beautiful verse we can try to remember. And words are also simples. Jiva Nistarite. Nistar. To deliver. Tar means deliver. Tarana. Is there someone more merciful? Is Bill Gates more merciful? Is any other form more merciful? No. Shri Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is the most merciful. Tama bina ke dayalu jagata sansari. There is no one more merciful. So, lot of wonderful points are there. One other point which I really like, that he removes the distress of his devotees and satisfies their desires. So beautiful. Vande Mahapurusha te Charanarvinda. I offer my obeisance to that great Mahapurusha. Who is that great Mahapurusha referred to? Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So many verses, so many Upanishads, so many Puranas come to the same conclusion, that the age of Kali Yuga, the Supreme Lord, is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, same as Govinda. And if someone has any questions, then we can say, well, this verse clarifies all the questions and so many proofs and so many scriptures. So If a person has little faith, the person will understand. If the person has no faith, then the question will remain always a question. Any other question or comment in this connection?